Hello friends, my name is Soni and I welcome you all to the session today. Today is your favorite session. It is the session on conversations. We have certain conversations on the future tense. Do you remember the future tense? I'm sure you do. We did 4 forms of the future tense: the simple future, the future perfect, the future continuous, and the future perfect continuous. We had a session wherein we did a lot of exercises. So today we have a lot of conversations for you. Listen to the conversations carefully because after each conversation I have a set of questions ready for you. So let's move on to the first conversation of the session. It is titled Dressing for Success. For this session, I would invite my friend Harsimrat, who would act as one of the speakers. There are 2 people in the conversation. One is Ashish and the other is Jagdeep. So let's get started with conversation number 1. Hey Jaggi, are you ready for your trip?
Well, not really. I have to buy some clothes.
What's the weather like where you're going?
It's really hot in the summer, so I'll be shopping for some shorts, sandals, and a few t-shirts.
What about the rest of the year?
People say it is warm until November, so I'll be buying some jeans and a few casual shirts.
Will you need any warm clothes for the winter?
Well, the weather doesn't get too cold, but it snows in the mountain. I will pack a couple of warm sweaters, a jacket, and a cap. I don't have room in my suitcase to pack a coat, so I'm going to wait until I get there and buy it when I really need it.
Are you going to take anything else?
They say it rains cats and dogs in the spring, but again, I'll probably just wait and pick up a raincoat or an umbrella later on. But I'm going to take a good pair of shoes because I plan to walk to college every day.
Do you need any clothing for formal occasions?
Well, you never know when you might need something on the spur of the moment for a wedding or a party. I'll probably take some nice slacks, a dressy shirt, and a couple of crazy ties.
That makes sense.
And I'll just rent a suit if I need anything more formal.
So, enjoyed the conversation? What do you think? Is Jagdeep ready for the trip? Well, he has a lot of plans and he knows what to buy for which season. You should plan the same way. Buy and select your clothes according to the season. Now, after the conversation, we have the question time. I have a question for you and you need to pick the right answer. I'll give you 3 options and pick the correct one. Why isn't Jagdeep ready for his trip to college? Why isn't Jagdeep ready for his trip to college? Your options. Number 1, he hasn't done his packing. Number 2, he has to buy a ticket. Or he has to buy some clothes. What do you think? Which is the correct option? Very simple. He has to buy some clothes. The entire conversation was based on this. What to buy for which season. So Jagdeep is not ready for the trip because उसने अभी कपड़े ही नहीं खरीदे हैं. जब भी आप कहीं बाहर जाते हो तो आप नए कपड़े लेके जाते हो या एटलीस्ट प्लान तो करते ही हो that what all you'll take. So you need to be ready before you go for a trip. Next question. What is the purpose of the trip? What is the purpose of the trip? Your options are: it is a vacation, Number 2, he's going to college. Number 3, he's going to visit his relatives. Go through the conversation, it's there in your workbook, and answer the question. Which option is the correct one? You're right, it is the second option. He's going to college. That is the purpose of his trip. Next question. What are the items of clothing that he's planning to buy for the trip? What are the items of the clothing that he's planning to buy for the trip? क्या क्या कपड़े खरीदने की सोच रहा है? I'll give you a couple of options and you select all the correct ones because I've asked you what are the items, so more than one. Your options are shorts, sandals, shirts, ties, t-shirts, jeans, coat, raincoat. Out of these 8 items, what do you think are the ones that he's planning to buy? Quickly put a tick against the item name. Workbook में है आपके, करो अपने workbook में tick लगाओ. Yes. So what are the items? He's planning to buy shorts, sandals, shirts, t-shirts and jeans. He has no plans to buy ties, coat or raincoat. These are the 3 items that he has not planned to buy. Let's move on to the next question. Why is Jagdeep planning to buy a pair of shoes? Why is Jagdeep planning to buy a pair of shoes? The options are: first, it will get too cold to wear sandals. Second, he needs shoes for formal occasions. Third, he will be walking to college. Which is the correct one? Good, it is he will be walking to college. So obviously, if you're walking to college, you need a good pair of shoes. Next question. What does dressing for success mean? I told you before we started the conversation that the title of the conversation is Dressing for Success. तो इस phrase का क्या मतलब होता है? Dressing for success. Your options are: number 1, to attract attention by the way you dress. Number 2, to be dressed appropriately. Or number 3, to wear expensive clothes. What do you think does dressing for success mean? It means to be dressed appropriately. मतलब occasion या situation के according आपने कपड़े पहने हो. अगर आप किसी formal meeting में जा रहे हो तो आप shorts पहन के जाओगे? नहीं. If you will wear shorts, everyone will laugh at you and you'll make a fool of yourself. So you need to dress according to the occasion. This is what dressing for success means. So you've learned this phrase today. Try and use it in your conversations. When you talk to people, instead of saying I'll wear a suitable dress, use the phrase I'll dress for success. Okay? Now this was our first conversation. I told you we have a lot of conversations for you today. So our second conversation is about planning a picnic. We have Sachin and Dinesh, and let's see how do they plan their picnic. So let me again invite Harsimrat, and Harsimrat and I will plan a picnic for you. We'll act as Sachin and Dinesh. Dinesh, what about a picnic on Sunday morning?
Sunday morning? Good idea.
I'll be going to the supermarket to pick up the food and the drinks. Any suggestions?
Well, everyone has been talking about having a picnic down by the river. So why don't you pick up some sandwiches and cold drinks?
Okay, but how many sandwiches are we going to need? And how many cold drinks?
I don't know. We can expect the entire gang. That's 8 of us. And we can ask everyone to get a friend along. That's 16 people. So we will need 2 large bottles of Coke and 2 dozen sandwiches.
Oh, that's not going to be enough. Do you remember the last picnic we went on? Your roommate Jatin ate about 10 sandwiches himself.
You're right. What should we do?
Let the girls arrange the food.
That's not fair. The girls do all the work. No, they're going to be our guests on Sunday. Let's get 4 large loaves of sandwich bread and make the sandwiches ourselves.
That's a good idea. That way we won't run out of food. But remember to buy both vegetarian and non-vegetarian sandwich spread and get at least 4 large bottles of Coke.
I'm going to write this down.
So let's move ahead to the questions based on the conversation. We have a rapid fire round for you. What do you mean by rapid fire? Wherein you're supposed to answer the questions quickly. I won't give you 10 minutes to do the exercise. So your first question, when is the picnic planned? When is the picnic planned? Second question, where will it take place? Where will it take place? Third question, how many people are expected at the picnic? How many people are expected at the picnic? You have these questions in your workbook. Next, who will shop for the food? Who will shop for the food? Next one, how many bottles of Coke is he going to buy? How many bottles of Coke is he going to buy? And the last question, is he going to buy sandwiches? Is he going to buy sandwiches? So do the exercise quickly. It's a rapid fire round. You should have already made a note of the answers when I was reading out the questions to you. So let's move on to the answers. When is the picnic planned? The picnic is planned on Sunday. We usually plan an outing on Sunday because that is the day when everyone is free and love to go for an outing. Next question, where will it take place? It will take place by the river. Next, how many people are expected at the picnic? Remember what Jagdeep said? 16 people are expected at the picnic. Next, who will shop for the food? Sachin will shop for the food. Next, how many bottles of Coke is he going to buy? He's going to buy 4 large bottles of Coke. Initially they had decided 2 large bottles, but later they thought 4 large bottles is a good idea. Next, is he going to buy sandwiches? No, he is not going to buy sandwiches. Okay, so I hope you've checked the answers and got all of them correct. Well, that's not enough because I have another questionnaire for you. based on the same conversation. I'll read out some sentences and you need to identify the form of the tense used. Which form of the tense is being used in these sentences? First sentence, I'll be going to the supermarket to pick up the food. How many sandwiches are we going to need? No, they are going to be our guests on Sunday. I'm going to write this down. So all of these sentences, 4 of them, are in the same tense. You need to identify the form of that tense. So which tense is used here? It is
future continuous tense.
Now I have another short exercise for you based on the picnic conversation. In this exercise, you will have to replace the words going to with will. तो जहाँ जहाँ going to है आपको उसे replace करना है, बदलना है will से. First, I'll be going to the supermarket to pick up the food. I'll be going to the supermarket to pick up the food. I will do the first one for you. It becomes I will go to the supermarket to pick up the food. So I have replaced going to with will. Next, अब ये खुद करने हैं. How many sandwiches are we going to need? How many sandwiches are we going to need? Next, no, they are going to be our guests on Sunday. No, they are going to be our guests on Sunday. Next, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to write this down. So you just have 3 sentences. Quickly replace going to with will. Let's move on to the solution. How many sandwiches are we going to need? If you replace going to with will, it becomes how many sandwiches will we need? Next, no, they are going to be our guests on Sunday. This sentence will become no, they will be our guests on Sunday. Next one, I'm going to write this down. This becomes I will write this down. So this was a very, very simple exercise. Simply use will instead of going to. Now we've heard the picnic conversation, we've heard the dress for success conversation. Now is the time for the third conversation of the day. The title of the conversation is In 5 Years' Time. That's it. In 5 years' time. Now, if you want to know what is going to happen in the next 5 years or what are the plans for the next 5 years, you'll have to wait for some time, because once you hear the conversation, then you'll come to know what is happening in the next 5 years. So let's get started with the conversation where we have Harsimrat acting as one of the speakers.
Why are you here? I'm here to appear for an interview.
I have applied for the position of Customer Care Executive in Convergys.
Why do you want to join Convergys?
I want to join Convergys because it is one of the best companies in the world. I want to work in a good atmosphere where I can grow as a professional.
Are you serious about working?
Yes, I am focused on getting a job in a good organization like Converges.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
5 years is a long time. Anything can happen in 5 years' time.
What do you think will be happening in your life?
If all goes well,
I'm going to be a Canadian citizen well within 5 years. Actually, my aunt is settled in Ottawa. She's sponsoring my immigration to Canada. When I get there, I'll work day and night. I'll put my dollars together in order to return to India to spend my money.
You could earn and spend in India.
What could I earn in India? Nothing. I will get rich by immigrating. I will move to Canada by hook or by crook. Then, when I return home, I will be living in a luxury flat and driving a flashy car, of course.
You won't have much time to grow as a professional with Converges.
That is only for the time being. I'm talking about the future.
So am I. I think you should concentrate on your future plans. Nice meeting you.
Same here. So, this is what I meant when I said 5 years from now. What are your plans, by the way? आपने क्या सोचा है 5 साल or maybe 10 साल बाद? Do you have any goal in mind? If you don't have, then think of one. Discuss it with your seniors or your teachers or even your parents. Think, what are your plans? What do you want to become in life? Just studying in school or college is not enough. You need to have some aim or some goal in your mind. If you want to become a doctor, you need to proceed in that direction. If you want to become a businessman, you need to have that kind of thinking. So today, go home, think at least for an hour about yourself. मेरा क्या होगा 5 या 10 साल बाद? Discuss it with your parents because it is high time when you start thinking about your future. Now let's move on to the questions related to the conversation you just heard. You need to pick the right option. The question is, I'll put my dollars together in order to return to India to spend my money. I'll put my dollars together in order to return to India to spend my money. Now in this sentence, the phrase put my dollars together, what does this mean? The exercise is there in your workbook. So what does the phrase put my dollars together? अब इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि डॉलर्स इकट्ठे करके मेज पे रख लूँगा. Okay? I've told you so many times, don't just consider the literal meaning. Try and understand the hidden meaning. So I'll give you 3 options and you let me know which is the correct one. Work hard and earn a good salary. Work hard and earn a good salary. Number 2, earn a good income and save money. Earn good income and save money. Number 3, save money by leading a stingy life. So what does put my dollars together mean? It means save money by leading a stingy life. You do not lead a luxurious life, you save a lot of money for future. So now you've learnt another phrase. पहला phrase हमने सीखा था dress for success. Now we've learnt put my dollars together. Try and use these 2 phrases. Try and talk to your friend in English and use whatever you learn. Next question. I will move to Canada by hook or by crook. Very common phrase. You must have heard it before. Do this either by hook or by crook. So what does the phrase by hook or by crook mean? Your options are: it means as a result of one's hard work. As a result of one's hard work. Second, by fair or unfair means. By fair or unfair means. Or number 3, with the help of family connections. With the help of family connections. So just think over it. What does it mean by hook or by crook? It means by fair or unfair means. कुछ भी करके, किसी भी तरह. If you want to do something, you say, I'll do this either by hook or by crook. किसी ना किसी तरह में करके छोड़ूंगा. This is what it means. So this is your third phrase for the day. Next, now in this question, I want to know, in your opinion, what do you think about it? Let me read out a statement to you first. The applicant fails to clear the interview because. Now I'm telling you that the person who was being interviewed fails to clear the interview. He's been rejected. Why do you think so? What happened? Your options. He is not serious about the job. He is not serious about the job. Second, he does not agree with the interviewer. He does not agree with the interviewer. Or third, lack of values or integrity. Lack of values or integrity. Which option or options do you think is or are correct? What do you think? Is he serious about the job? I don't think so, because he has his own immigration plans. So if you've already planned that you will leave a job and you will move to some other country, how can you be serious about that job? So the option, he is not serious about the job, is correct. So it is one of the reasons why he got rejected. Now what about the second option? He does not agree with the interviewer. We've not heard any kind of conflict between the candidate and interviewer. So I don't think that this could be a possible reason for his rejection. So this is not the correct option. Third option, lack of values or integrity. This is also the correct option, because this person would not be loyal to the organization he would work in. He has his own personal immigration plans. He'll move to the other country. He will not serve his own motherland. So how can you expect values and integrity from such a person? So the two options are number 1 and number 3. Both are correct. Now I have 2 statements for you, and you need to compare the 2 statements. Just go through the statements and try and give your opinion on the 2 statements. First statement, I'm focused on getting a job in a good organization like Converges. I'm focused on getting a job in a good organization like Converges. Second statement, if all goes well, I'm going to be a Canadian citizen well within 5 years. If all goes well, I'm going to be a Canadian citizen well within 5 years. Now, in one statement, he's focusing on a job in a company which is there in India. I'm focused on getting a job in a good organization like Converges. He wants to get to Converges somehow or the other. But in the second statement, he says, if all goes well, I'm going to be a Canadian citizen within 5 years. That means within 5 years, he will move to Canada. So both the statements are contradictory. The person who's listening to him would not be in a position to understand what are his actual plans. whether he's planning to work in Converges or is he interested in going to Canada. A little probing on the part of the interviewer reveals that the candidate is insincere. I told you, he's not serious about his job. He himself has a confused future plan. उसे खुद ही नहीं पता कि उसने Converges में जॉब करनी है या कनाडा जाना है. So such a person would not be considered a serious or sincere candidate. Let's move on to the next and the last conversation of the day. The title of the conversation is India as a World Power. Now you listen to the conversation first and try and make out what are we talking about or what is the discussion about. Pay attention because I have a set of questions after the conversation for you. So let's invite Harsimrat, who would take part in the conversation with me. How were your board exams?
Good. I will score high marks.
Oh, that's great. And what are your future plans?
I am planning to go abroad.
Where are you going?
Anywhere. America, Canada, New Zealand. I don't care where I go. It doesn't matter.
Why don't you want to stay at home?
There is no future in India.
You are wrong. There are good prospects for bright young people like you.
How can you say that?
The Indian economy is growing. That means there are good opportunities in many fields. You should graduate from a good college and get a good job in a field of your choice.
But there aren't any good jobs here.
There are good jobs here, but they are in the larger cities. As our private sector expands, there will be more and more jobs available in smaller towns.
Are you sure?
I am. You see, we are a developing country and we are advancing at a rapid pace. In 5 years' time, we will have a lot to offer our youth.
Really? But there are no more government jobs.
That may be true. Privatization is a fact, but it is not necessarily bad news. The private sector offers great flexibility in employment, and corporate jobs or enterprising work can be challenging.
So what should I do?
You concentrate on getting admission to a good professional college. So what did you learn from this conversation? We learned that our Indian economy is growing. It is developing. And we do have new prospects coming up every now and then. So don't think कि government jobs तो है नहीं, so let's move to some other country. First try in your own motherland. Try for a job, specialize in a field, go for a job, and I'm sure if you have the competency, you would definitely get a job in your own country. So this was the conversation, and as usual, I have some questions based on it. Question number 1. What do you mean by the statement, there is no future in India? When we say, India में तो कोई future ही नहीं है, what do you mean by this? I'll give you options and you have it in your workbook as well. It means, number 1, we are an ancient civilization. We are an ancient civilization. Number 2, India will be destroyed soon. India will be destroyed soon. Or number 3, professional prospects are not good. Professional prospects are not good. What do you think the statement, there is no future in India means? क्या मतलब है इसका? You must have heard young girls and boys saying, let's move to different countries, let's go to America, Canada, England, because India में तो कोई future ही नहीं है. What do they mean when they say this? They mean that the professional prospects are not good. They will not get good or satisfactory jobs out here. So the phrase "there is no future in India" means that the professional prospects are not good. Let's move on to another question. The Indian economy is growing. What does economic growth result in? When the economy of a country grows, what happens to the country, or what is the outcome? Your options are: number 1, more syllabus in the subject of economics, because it is economic growth. तो क्या ऐसा है कि syllabus बढ़ जाता है economics का? Number 2, growing opportunities in many fields. Growing opportunities in many fields. Or number 3, destruction of traditional society. Destruction of traditional society. What do you think is the outcome or the result of economic growth? It is growing opportunities in many fields. It is a positive outcome. There will be no destruction of traditional society. That does not depend on economic growth. Destruction of traditions or values depends upon a person, not on the economic growth of a country. It depends on society, place where you live, your family, your upbringing. So, economic growth always gives positive results. It gives growing opportunities in many fields. Next question. We are a developing country. Which of the following countries is a developed country? India is developing. Now I'll read out the name of some countries. You need to tell me which is a developed country, already developed. First option, America, France, Canada, or Sri Lanka. It could be one or more than one. Yes, which all are the developed countries? America, of course. America is a developed country. It is a superpower. France and Canada. 3 of them are the developed countries. Last question based on the conversation. If I start my own business today, what kind of work would I do? अगर आज मैं अपनी दुकान या अपना कोई फैक्ट्री, कोई कंपनी खोलती हूँ और बिजनेस करती हूँ, मैं किस तरह का काम कर रही होंगी? Your options are: I would be a salaried employee. Second, I would be an entrepreneur. Third, I would work on commission basis. Now those of you who have their own shops, your father goes to his shop, is he a salaried employee, or is he an entrepreneur, or is he working on commission basis? The correct answer is I would be an entrepreneur, a businessman. Because अपनी दुकान में आपको सैलरी कौन देगा? You are the master, you are the owner, so you will not get any commission or salary. So these were the questions based on the conversation we just heard. Now today's session was on future tense. Future means aane wala kal. What are your plans about your future? I've told you a number of times that plan your future. Don't think कि अभी तो मैं बहुत छोटा हूँ या छोटी हूँ and abhi to I'm just in school. What is the point planning? There is a lot of need to plan future even if you are in school, because आगे जाके आप उसी तरह के subjects लोगे. If you want to go for non-medical, you'll have to take relevant subjects. So plan your future, talk to your teachers, they'll be your good guide. Okay? So what did we do today? Today we revised what is future tense, the different forms of future tense, and we heard some conversations. Our first conversation was dressing for success. That is, planning appropriately or dressing for the situation. Then we had heard a picnic conversation. Two people planning for a picnic. So whether it's your career or your personal life, planning is always very important. चाहे आप पिकनिक पे जाओ या आप जॉब करो, प्लानिंग तो करनी ही है. Another conversation was in 5 years' time, where we had met a non-serious candidate. So don't be like him. Whatever plans you have, be sincere and serious. And last but not the least, we talked about India as a global power. We learned that India is a developing country and it has a lot of new opportunities for the youth. So this was all as far as the session today was concerned. I hope you enjoyed the session. Do go through the session once again in your workbook and take care. Bye-bye.